A general is nothing without his army, or in this case, the SCP Foundation is nothing without the multitude of highly specialised mobile task forces that enact their will at the drop of a hat. Over the past few months, we've managed to observe the awesome fictional sci-fi horror multiverse of the SCP Foundation through a very wide lens, but as we've explored further, we've focused on the smaller, more nuanced intricacies of its canonical body. There are many moving parts of the SCP Foundation, and the most fascinating of those cogs are these guys. So, in that case, I guess we better take a look. Hello horror fans, what's going on? And once again, welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. As per usual, I'll be your horror host, Jack Finch, as today we curiously take a look at the top 5 mobile task forces in the SCP Foundation. Roll the clip. For the curious amongst you, that clip was from 2005's Return of the Living Dead Necropolis, which is an absolutely terrible film, but also is perhaps the only instance in which an armed squadron of police are actually competent when facing down a horde of ravenous zombies. Because usually they just flail around doing nothing, don't they? And then they get eaten alive by the living dead. Good job, fictional police. But also it leads us to a very important point. All of the mobile task forces in the SCP Foundation are incredibly competent institutions. So, let's find out why. Kicking off at number 5, Epsilon VI, codename Village Idiots. No matter what secretive, highly specialised missions the Foundation's MTFs carry out across the planet, there are inevitably always going to be some unwitting public witnesses. It just comes with the territory, really. Whether it's an old alcoholic farmer out in his field that swears he just saw SCP-682 flying past the moon, or a young family driving down a freeway when suddenly SCP-096 bolts in front of their family 5-door saloon. The underappreciated mobile task force Epsilon VI, codename Village Idiots, are the group that the Foundation calls in when things get a little bit messy out in suburbia. Inevitably, any containment breach in a highly populated area garners the need to keep a lid on things. As the record states, Epsilon VI specialise in the investigation, containment and subsequent cleanup of anomalies in rural and suburban environments. One of their most widely successful documented cases was their work with SCP-2480, an extra-dimensional anomaly located around the ancient Bodfound Manor in a small coastal town in Massachusetts with a population of 9,000 residents. Epsilon VI quickly descended on the town after Bodfound Manor became the site of a grisly incident involving a neo-Sarkic cult known as Adetum's Wake, infiltrating the community where they still remain to this day, just in case the fanatical flesh cult decides to show up again. Better safe than sorry, isn't it? Swinging in at number 4, Beta 7, codename Maz Hatters. Talking about cleanups, for those of you that are astute scholars of the SCP Foundation, you may have noticed that things often get incredibly messy, especially when you're dealing with horrifying, grotesque, anomalous entities that have a tendency of leaking their inorganic matter all over the place, or incurable prion diseases floating around in a picturesque woodland, which is never a good sign. Essentially, Beta 7 are the Foundation's version of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. As the record states, Mobile Task Force Beta 7, codename Maz Hatters, specialise in the acquisition and containment of anomalies exhibiting extreme biological, chemical or radiological hazards, as well as the rapid containment and cleanup of areas affected by these horrifying anomalies. Perhaps Beta 7's most infamous operation was with their containment of SCP-008, an incurable, 100% lethal prion disease that is transmitted through bodily fluids. One of its most grisly outbreaks was at Happy Acres Youth Camp, an outdoor wilderness experience in the mountainous regions of Wyoming. Wow, Beta 7 were the first people on site, but by the end of it, the entire camp was infected by 008. It's one hell of a read. We'll leave a link down below so you can take a look. Next up at number 3, Zeta 7, codename Mole Rats. Now, unfortunately for some, a lot of the wet work in the SCP Foundation involves many of its bravest operatives having to bite the bullet and poke their heads in places that no one else wants to poke. While as their codename suggests, Mobile Task Force Zeta 7 specialises in the investigation, exploration and containment of underground or enclosed areas that exhibit anomalous phenomena, particularly those with inconsistent topography or unstable spacetime. Essentially, these are the guys that the Foundation calls in when a rift in spacetime appears out of nowhere and they're like, hey, you better jump on in, guys. It's your job. Now, it's a thankless job also, but someone's got to do it. And as it comes with the territory, Mobile Task Force Zeta 7 has some of the highest number of operatives that are registered as missing in action, or much more tragically, just straight up swallowed whole by an anomalous entity, tentacles and all. It's not only space-time anomalies that they're willing to plunge down into though. Pretty much anything lurking beneath the ocean is at the responsibility of mole rats, and one of their most terrifying operations involved SCP-455, an infinite shipwreck that has never been fully explored, and Zeta 7 have already lost more operatives than they'd like to admit. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough job. Coming in at number 2, Epsilon 11, codename Nine-Tailed Fox. And yeah, you were just waiting for these guys, weren't you? For fans of the SCP Containment Breach video game, the phrase Mobile Task Force Unit Epsilon 11, designated Nine-Tailed Fox, has entered the facility will have a certain sense of resonance, to say the least, and heralds a moment where you know things are about to get really bad. Nine-Tailed Fox are the guys that the O5 Council call in when anomalous excrement hits the proverbial fan, and they're perhaps one of the most competent MTFs in the entire canon of the SCP Foundation. As the record states, Epsilon 11 handles internal security for the Foundation under oversight by Mobile Task Force Alpha 1. They are a special ops force deployed to Foundation sites when standard protocols fail and multiple breaches are imminent, and because of that, pretty much all of their operations are classified. Essentially, whenever a Foundation site falls into utter anomalous chaos during a containment breach, they send in Nine-Tailed Fox to make sure nothing gets out, and while they may be unequivocally the most badass operative force that the Foundation has in their arsenal, they're also completely horrifying because they'll go to any lengths to make sure their mission is a success. They're comprised of 9 veteran squad members that are unrivaled in their respective fields, and these guys don't even flinch when staring down entities such as SCP-682 and SCP-173 because they're capable enough to know in that respect, if they blink, they're done for. The term XK class extinction event is terrifying enough in the SCP Foundation, but the phrase uttered afterwards musters an equal level of fear. Nine-Tailed Fox has entered the facility. And finally, at number 1 spot, Alpha 1, codename Red Right Hand. Because there is one operative task force that Epsilon 11 answers to, and it's these guys, Mobile Task Force Alpha 1, codename Red Right Hand. It's interesting to know that at one point in time, Alpha 1 were the Foundation's way of acting outside of the realms of ethical operations, and they were created by the O5 Council as a means to enact their will without tarnishing the Foundation's already questionable reputation. However, in 1948, Alpha 1's most competent and trusted operatives committed an unprecedented act of betrayal against the Foundation, splintering off and forming the now infamous Chaos Insurgency. Despite that though, the O5 Council had enough foresight to keep their most capable mobile task force in operation because only the Foundation's best are ordered to keep tabs on the most terrifying anomalous entities in their containment. Because of the nature of that though, it comes with a territory that pretty much nothing is known about them. As the record states, Mobile Task Force Alpha 1 are a group of highly specialised operatives that report directly to the O5 Council and are used in situations that require the strictest operational security. The task force consists of the Foundation's best and most loyal operatives, and any further information regarding Alpha 1 is classified level 5. So, in that case, I suppose we better get ready for a heavy dose of amnestics. Wait a minute, what was I saying again? Well, I suppose that's all we've got time for in today's video, so there we have it, our list for the top 5 mobile task forces in the SCP Foundation. What do you guys think? Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below, as well as any of your own choice picks from the SCP Foundation. Before we depart though, let's take a quick look at some of your more creative comments from over the past few days. First up, Hardeen3F7 says, SCP is really cool, thanks top 5 and especially Jack, your knowledge of the organisation is so unbelievable, you the man. And hey Hardeen3F7, that's incredibly kind of you. Glad that you're enjoying our recent SCP based content. And really, my knowledge of the SCP Foundation is literally a tiny drop in an endless ocean of information. There's just too much to it to ever be any kind of expert, but it's fun nonetheless. Cheers buddy. And finally, Random Gamer says, I love the video, could you maybe make a top 5 most interesting MTF? Wow, what a strange coincidence, Random Gamer. There you go buddy. Hope you enjoyed it. On that note, horror fans, cheers for sticking around all the way until the end. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed this particular top 5 scary video. If you were a fan of this list, please be a dear and hit that thumbs up button as well as that subscribe bell, and we'll be seeing you in the next one. As per usual, I've been your horror host Jack Finch. You've been watching top 5 scary videos. Until next time, you take it easy.